Considering the sexy scenes he's read, totally 18 plus. Don't you know who you're talking to?
Daddy. Strength to hold in what is trying to get out. Okay. Temptation.
He lowers himself down between my legs and watches me closely as he pushes himself inside me. I cry out, moaning with pleasure, uncaring how feral and out of control I sound. Kyle moves slowly at first, kissing me so softly that I feel like I might explode. Then he pulls back and slams into me hard.
I shall save you all from spiders. I'm an expert trapper and releaser. That's so sweet that you release them. I murder them. That's right, I do murder them, so don't forget. If you ever need a spider killing near you, you call me. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Newbie. Congrats on getting first. Gemma redeeming almost first. And thank you for the new follow, Red Dead. Appreciate that. It's nice to has a new follows right before stream. We hate spiders here. I bet there's a lot of people that do. So you're not alone. You are not alone. Ooh, yeah. I was hoping this would happen. My cup. It's greener than my shirt. 72 push-ups? Yeah, it's... Last stream was a little bit chaotic. It would have been over 100, but I managed to get some of them done. So that's great. Boy, it's been a weekend. I don't know about you guys, but it has been a weekend. Newbie and I... Hi, Stepmama's mama. I don't think you would understand. Newbie and I and her husband, we joined forces.
We'll now begin the push-up section. Ready? Begin. Down.
Great. Thanks, Gemma. We joined forces and we did a ghost hunt this weekend. Or at least, it was supposed to be a ghost hunt. It didn't really feel like much of one, unfortunately. But it was still a nice place. The food was good. The most of the people that were there were good. I don't want to say too many not nice things, but it was an interesting experience. Let's just say that. There wasn't a lot of ghost hunting happening, though, unfortunately. But the hotel was super nice. So I enjoyed that part of it. And, I got to go to the colonies that are there. They're from German descent, so I went to some of the stores and picked up a few items, knickknacks and edible things. It was good overall. It was fun though, interesting. You are correct. Yeah. Not night and day to our experience at the Ohio State Reformatory. Let's just put it that way. Absolute night and day. So, maybe my wife, she said maybe I set the bar too high, to going to the prison and then going to this. Maybe I should have reversed them. I don't know. You spoke in German to some ghosts? Yeah, was it good German though? I don't know. But I tried. Was it warmer? It was definitely warmer because we were in a hotel. An actual functioning hotel, which is where we stayed. Excuse me, I'm all froggy tonight. Sorry, I got a message that I need to deal with. Okay. Anyway, here we are. Came home to finding out my son has strep. Carly. 7 months in a row. Thank you so much. Thank you for your resub. It's good to see you. And now I need to add more push-ups. This is great. This is not great. And your name goes into the drawing. Where's my pen? Chaotic Carly, everybody. He's been streaming a ton of Hunt Showdown. Chaotic Carly. Yes, there's a drawing. If you look in the top left corner. Hi, friends. Okay, your name. It's in the hat. Yeah, she's been streaming a ton of it, Gemma, so feel free to go check that out. You think I can read? Well, I sure hope so. Whoa. Gemma. What are you doing? 5 gifted subs to the community. Thank you. Serenity, Adamantine, Joey, Ninjinx, and Timmer's Crutch. Some of those people, I don't even know who they are. Thank you so much for doing that. Now you get into the drawing 5 times. Holy cow. 1, 2, I gotta count the paper first. 3, because it's all bunched together. 4. Come on, we can do this. 5. Thank you, Gemma. That was super kind. I'm putting you into the drawing right meow. Because if I don't, I will forget. So I'm just gonna quickly take care of this. Wow, my handwriting is terrible. Too much time at a computer. Yikes. It's not pretty. It's a good thing I can read it. That's the main thing. Okay. I got all 5 right here. All 5. In the hat. Thank you, Gemma. That was super kind of you. That's, yeah, and I gotta add 25 more. Good God. This is why I needed you to read to me? Okay, well that makes sense. Was not trying to add more push-ups, just wanted to give gifts. Plus I have 2 of his books. You do. Okay, let me math here real quick. God, I'm so far behind. 112 now. Shoot. Okay, so we're definitely doing some before I start reading. No, they're not all happening tonight. So as I was saying, I came home from this adventure, finding out that my son is sick. We took him to the doctor's office, learns he has strep throat. So he is not doing too hot. We do have some medicine in him. So hopefully, he shouldn't be contagious by like tomorrow night, basically. And knocking on wood, I don't catch it because I've been exposed to him before we knew about the strep. Okay. I'm going to do some of those push-ups now. So please remain calm while I go do that. Okay. We did it.
I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better.
I'm something. I'm out of breath is what. Alright, so we did 40. So that puts us at 72. Right? Yeah. I will. I will definitely drink. I also noticed the push-up counter above me can't do triple digits. It thought I was at 12. Feeling strong. Okay, let me show you your puzzle. My dear, I'll be here, but just listening, not feeling the best. Oh no. Well, feel better, please. Here's your puzzle for tonight. It's skyscrapers, which I think is fitting for our book. The law offices and penthouse suites and whatnot. Okay. Very good. Excellent, excellent. Oh. Huh. Guessing just tired? Yeah, I imagine so. I think we're all feeling that part. Okay. I've got the book. Exclamation point honest if you want to learn more about what we're reading. Whoa. Chapter 4 is called Catherine's Power. There's a picture here. So there's that. All right.
And I looked, and behold, a pale horse.
Why is that popping up every time?
And the rider's name was Death.
The rider's name was Death. So I set up new alerts, and now That one just keeps showing up, and I don't know why. Because I'm a pro, obviously. Okay, I think I got it. Yep, I did. I figured it out. Problem solved. Carry on. That should not pop up anymore. Nailed it. Okay. So we ended chapter 3 with Donnie basically getting the life beaten out of him in his penthouse by the cowboy, Mike. And he tried to call Rachel. Yep. Never watch alone. That's right, never watch alone. Always bring a friend. I couldn't get a hold of Rachel, and so he called his mother, and I think Mom kind of had an idea of what was going on, but that's how the chapter ended. It was just part of their conversation at the very beginning, and then it all cut off. So here we go. Chapter 4, Catherine's Powers. Baby doll, can you hear me? The familiar whispering voice gave Donnie some comfort amongst the alarming sounds of the machines connected to him. Oh, yes, please enjoy the puzzle. It's a fabulous puzzle. Machines connected to him. Donnie's eyes fluttered open, and for a moment he was disoriented. He couldn't remember where he was, or how he had gotten there. As he looked around, he realized that he was in a hospital room. There were machines beeping and buzzing all around him, and a tube was running from his arm to a bag of fluids hanging above him. He tried to sit up, but a sharp pain in his head forced him back down. He winced, groaning as he closed his eyes again. As the fog sleep lifted, memories began to surface. He remembered the beating, the pain, and the fear. He remembered being rushed to the hospital and the doctors working on him. He opened his eyes again and looked around, taking in the sterile walls and the flickering fluorescent lights. He was in a hospital room, but it didn't feel like home. It felt cold and impersonal, and he couldn't wait to get out. But for now, he was stuck here, at the mercy of the machines and the nurses. Stay in bed, baby doll. Don't exhaust yourself, Catherine said as she laid her wrinkly hand on his chest. He could see her red eyes. She must have been crying for hours. The expensive clothes and jewelry couldn't hide the fatigue of the hours she spent sitting at the edge of his bed. After a few seconds, all he said was, "Which hospital?" "Memorial Hospital, doll. I'm so glad you're alive. I don't know what I'd do without you," Catherine said with a napkin next to her nose and mouth, trying to stop herself from crying. "Do you remember what happened?" "Vaguely." "Well, don't think about it now. Just try to get some rest. Let me call the nurse," Catherine said as she leaned forward to press the call button. "Mr. Jackson, my name is Linda. I will let the doctor know you are awake. You gave us a scare," Linda said as she walked into the room and started looking at the numbers on the monitor. "Do you remember your date of birth?" "November 15th, 1990. "That's great. I'll be right back." After a few minutes of silence, he looked at his mother, who was still looking at him. He gathered all his strength and moved his hand to hold hers. I'm okay, Mom. It was that man I called you about. He had a key to the penthouse. He knew the security code. Who is he? What did he want? He made me transfer $1 million to an account. He said it was about cancer, charity or something. I don't know. It just happened very quickly. Hey, Stomp Papa. Gonna lurk and listen, have a good read? Yeah, no worries. Thank you for the lurk. That's okay, doll. The police will take care of it. Just focus on recovering. I told you many times you need a bodyguard. As Donnie was lying in the hospital bed, he couldn't help but notice how tired his mother looked. She seemed to have aged overnight, her face drawn and haggard. It was clear that she hadn't slept in a while, and Donnie knew that the worry and stress of his situation had taken a toll on her. Feeling a pang of guilt, Donnie reached out and took his mother's hand. Mom, go home, he said softly. You need some rest. I'll be okay here. His mother shook her head stubbornly. I'm not going anywhere, she said, her voice fierce. I'm not leaving you alone in this place. Donnie sighed, knowing that he wasn't going to win this argument. But as he looked at his mother, he couldn't help but feel sorry for her. He knew that he had caused her a lot of pain and worry. Mr. Jackson, my name is Dr. McLean. I am a neurologist. I'll be looking after you for a few days until I make sure you're okay. Dear, Mr. McLean knew your grandfather. He looked after him when he had a stroke. He's the best in L.A. Do you know where you are, Mr. Jackson? Asked Dr. McLean. A Memorial Hospital, and my date of birth is November 15th, 1990. How long have I been here? Only a few hours. You were responsive when you came in. We needed to treat your injuries and do some scans, but you weren't lying still, so we gave you a small sedative. Dr. McLean pulled the sheet off of Donnie's leg and pulled a pointy instrument out of his white coat and started to gently poke them. Excuse me. Do you feel that? I do. Donnie replied as his mother could tell that he was getting fed up with all of this. Can you move your legs? Your arms? Yes, Donnie said as he started making gentle movements in all his limbs. It's a miracle that you only had a head concussion. You're lucky you survived this. Your mother is lucky. All your scans have been normal, and it doesn't look like you have any fractures. But to be on the safe side, I'll keep you in the hospital for a few days to monitor you. Dr. McLean kept alternating his vision between Donnie and Catherine with a reassuring smile on his face. That's fine. Donnie sighed and rolled his eyes. Also, Mr. Jackson, there are a couple of police officers outside. They want to ask you a few questions. Do you feel well enough to talk to them? Dr. McLean gestured to Catherine as he left the room, which gave her comfort that her son was well cared for. After 10 seconds, a knock on the door preceded the entrance of 2 police officers. One of them was holding a pen and a small notebook. Mr. Jackson, I'm Officer Gomez and this is Officer Brennan. We would like to take your statement about what happened. What do you remember? Donnie tried to sit up in bed. I was just having coffee, and I heard the door opening and shutting. I went to check it out, and there was this man who had been stalking me for the past 2 days. He made me transfer money, and right after that, he beat me up. Do you know him? I only met him in my office. He came there to warn me that he was going to use my money to buy property overseas. It's a dangerous game this man is playing. I'm sure it's one of our competitors who is jealous of all this success my son has achieved. Good God. Okay. Thanks. Appreciate that. Rock solid. I will add 2 push-ups to the count shortly. So kind of you. You need to check it out? Oh, well. Gosh. So glad you did. Let's see. Does anyone else have access to the penthouse? Donnie paused for 2 seconds. No. Were you with anyone before that happened? Officer Brennan questioned him intensely. Another pause. No. Mom, can I have a glass of water, please? Catherine got up, and the second the door closed, Donnie adjusted his posture in bed and said, I am suspecting that my secretary is behind what's happening. It's only speculation. She was with me, and she has the key to the penthouse. Officer Brennan looked up and stopped writing in his notepad. And where is she now? I don't know. I tried to call her after the event, but she didn't answer. Do you have a security camera in your office in the penthouse, Mr. Jackson? Yes, I can pull up the images on my phone. I don't know where it is, though. Okay. We can run some analytics on that person, see whether we can identify him. You said that he came to your office a couple of days ago. How can we get those surveillance videos? Oh, sure, blame the secretary. Look, she is definitely looking a bit suspicious right now. Heading into the darkroom to lay down and listen. I'll be looking. Okay. I hope you feel better. Officer Brennan asked as he started writing in his notepad again. The security system is different. It's an internal one. The tapes should all be in the office. They should be saved for a month before we delete them. The security team in my building should have access to that. Officer Brennan stopped writing. Your building? I own the building. I have an office at the top level. We're on the top level. The officers both looked at one another with non-impressed facial expressions. The door opened and Catherine came back with a glass of water. Okay, Mr. Jackson, I think we got all we need. This is the number you need to contact when you get out of here. When you can. Come to the police department when you're discharged. We'll need more information, and we need to look at those videos from your house and your building. Donnie struggled to lift his arm. Catherine reached and took the paper from Officer Gomez. He'll be there. As soon as they left the room, Donnie looked at Catherine. Speaking of which, when can I go home? I don't know, doll. Recover. Let's get to the bottom of this. Don't rush it. I have my bodyguards in front of your suite. They'll stay here tonight, and tomorrow you will get your own. I'm already on it. Mom, there's something we need to talk about. Catherine became apprehensive suddenly. She stopped arranging the sheet that Dr. McLean messed up. She liked everything to be perfect, including the bedsheet. She sat down on the chair again. What is it, doll? Look, Mom, I'm 31 years old. I'm not a child anymore. I just sometimes feel you're overprotective of me. I sometimes feel suffocated. Catherine looked down and started rubbing her hands together. He continued, I just feel you smother me sometimes, even at work. You know my cases, you know about finances. You get updated about everything I do on a regular basis. The reason you knew about the case from Rachel is that I felt I didn't need to tell you. I knew Rachel had instructions to contact you immediately after the verdict. Look, doll, I admit I can be involved too much sometimes. Since you were 10 years old and your father went, I tried everything to keep the lifestyle we had as it was. It's not been easy. Yes, but that's the thing. You've never let me be me. There are things I can't tell you because, well, I don't want to upset you or disappoint you. Is there something you're not telling me? She reached out and held his hand. No, Mom, it's all good. As Catherine was about to speak again, her bodyguard opened the door and popped his head in. Excuse me, Mrs. Jackson. Mr. Jackson's coworkers are here to say hello. Friends, said Donnie with a harsh tone. Catherine smiled friendly and said, Let them in, Marcus. Oh, that's so nice of them. I tried to reach Rachel, but her phone was switched off. I called Mark, and I assume he told the rest. Do we have a theory about Rachel yet? Like, is she actually in on it, or was she maybe abducted? Taken captive? I don't know. Too early to tell, perhaps. Sally Longo, Mark Cohen, Emily Sanders, David Carter, and Jalen Katz walked in with Emily holding a big bouquet. They all spoke at the same time. The warmth of having familiar faces filled his chest and gave him relief from his pain. But the pain of missing the sixth face gave him sorrow that he struggled to hide. His eyes wandered between the five of them and asked, Where's Rachel? I tried to call and text her on the way here, but I think her phone is switched off, Sally said in a nonchalant tone. Well, you all make yourself comfortable, but don't be too long. Donnie needs to rest, said Catherine as she maintained the classy, friendly smile on her face. Mom, it's okay. Well, we won't stay. We just came by to say hello and see what's left of you. We dug around in the office and we couldn't find your will, so we wanted to make sure you wrote one and mentioned us in it, said David jokingly. Shut up, Catherine yelled and looked at David with angry eyes. The silence followed for a few seconds. Nobody knew how to react. Anyway, we were going. Nice to see you, Donnie. Get well soon, Emily said as she set the flowers on the table on the other side of Donnie's bed. They all turned around and left the room. The awkward moments were filled with interrupted eye contact. Between Catherine and Donnie. David was just kidding, Mom. They're my friends. That's exactly what I mean. You embarrassed me. I'm sorry, darling, but it wasn't funny. Anyway, I need you to rest. It's getting dark. I'm gonna go home. You get some rest. Do you need anything? I need my phone. Any idea where it is? No, dear, I don't. I just called the ambulance when I saw you on the floor. Okay, that's fine. I'll see you in the morning. The sound of the door closing made the machine's beeping noises feel louder. Donnie laid back in bed and looked at the monitors making several types of noises. He looked out of the window. It was a clear night. His body was damaged, but his brain felt as clear as the night sky. He looked around and smiled at his vision as his vision fell on the flower bouquet. His smile immediately disappeared when he remembered what had just happened when David was trying to make him smile. His head kept turning and his vision kept wandering around the room, looking at the luxurious sofa located on the right side of his bed, the chair near the bed where his mother was sitting, the side table with another bouquet which was brought in by his mother. Then he noticed the phone cable. He managed to move the bouquet and to bring the phone closer. He put it on his lap and kept staring at it. He finally picked up the phone and dialed a number. The line rang multiple times, then it went to voicemail. "Hey, Nat. I guess I'm breaking one of the biggest lawyer rules. I shouldn't contact you before a court date, but I'm feeling very vulnerable. I've been attacked, and I'm currently in Memorial Hospital. I just wanted to... Well, I remember how you used to take care of me when I used to get ill. I hate that it came to where it is now. I just want you to know, if it were up to me, I would have never stood against you in court. Mom has..." The voicemail cut him off before he finished the last sentence. He rested his hand on the phone as he strove to keep his eyes open. The machine's sounds helped him drift away. The morning light was bright. The voice of the nurse was even louder. "Good morning, Mr. Jackson. How are we doing today?" And before he could even think of an answer, "Your heart rate and blood pressure are very stable. Are you in any pain?" What a stupid question, he thought to himself, but he knew the more he complained, the longer time he got to spend at the hospital. "No, I feel great this morning." "Okay, great. Dr. McLean makes his rounds at about 8, so until then, anything you need from me? Painkillers or something?" "I'm good, thank you," Donnie said as he adjusted his posture to sit up and rest his back against the backboard. Once the nurse left the room, he felt like getting out of bed. He moved his legs through the pain and dangled them on the side of the bed. He touched the back of his gown, which was half open, exposing the upper part of his body. The second he put his feet on the floor, he heard a loud voice from outside. It seemed as if Marcus, his mother's bodyguard, was stopping someone from coming in. It was a woman, most likely Rachel. "Marcus, let her in, please," he yelled with difficulty. It was rare for a lawyer with his talent to become speechless. Once Marcus opened the door and stepped aside, the woman he saw made him forget his pain and stand up. Nat. Natalie walked at a fast pace and hugged him, whispering, "Donnie." Ouch, easy, easy. He managed to break free, but she was still holding onto his shoulders like she was holding on to a precious treasure. "What happened, baby brother?" Natalie was Donnie's older sister. She had an innocent face with blonde hair and dark eyes. She had wrinkles, although she was only 35 years old. Donnie hadn't seen her in years. He wasn't sure why his mother didn't like her. He wasn't sure why Catherine would give Natalie her share of the inheritance, and most importantly, he wasn't sure why she insisted that his office should manage the case Natalie pursued against his mother to claim her share. Donnie managed to wake up from the shock. He noticed that her clothes weren't the expensive clothes he was used to seeing people wear. His employees wore more decent clothes. Her shoes looked old and scratched. She wasn't like that the last time she visited with them, and she was still in high school. He remembered the argument she had with their mother and left in tears. I heard your voicemail this morning and I tried to call the hospital. They wouldn't give me any details. I couldn't wait any longer. What happened? Natalie asked, still holding his shoulders. Don't worry about it. Just some lunatic attacked me at home, Donnie said as he sat down, managing to free his shoulders from her hands. Sit down, Nat. I missed you so much. I needed you yesterday. Remember when I had chickenpox? You were what, 10? But you kept checking on me like you were my nurse. I'll never forget that day. I'm so sorry about not being here. If it were up to me, I'd be by your side every day. But you know. I know. I just don't know how it got to that point. I don't know what's wrong with her. She's just a mystery to me when it comes to discussing family issues. Natalie looked down at her lap, then looked up again. She was about to say something, but noticed the bandages. She felt it was not the right time when he was in physical pain. Nat, just tell me. What are you two hiding from me? I can tell by looking at you. I know people. What are you doing here? The door opened roughly and hit the wall behind it as Catherine stormed in. What have you been telling him, you liar? I haven't told him anything, Mom. I'm just visiting. You need to leave. Mom, please. I called her last night. I want her here. No, she is nothing but trouble. Leave this room or I'll get Marcus and hospital security to kick you out. Natalie looked at Donnie. He could see that she was about to cry as her eyes started to tear up. Mom, I know you're hiding something from me. This is the best time to tell me. I don't want to wait any longer. There's nothing to tell. The room was thick with tension, the air heavy with unspoken words and unresolved conflicts. It was as if a storm was brewing, ready to unleash its fury at any moment. Catherine and Natalie stood facing each other, their bodies rigid and their faces tight with anger. They were locked in a staring contest, each one daring the other to make the first move. The atmosphere was electric, as if a spark could ignite the fuse and set off an explosion at any moment. Every word that was spoken was laced with venom, every gesture charged with hostility. The tension in the room was palpable, making it hard to breathe. It was as if the very air was charged with animosity, and the slightest movement could set off a chain reaction to anger and resentment. Catherine grabbed Natalie's arm and shoved her toward the open door. Marcus was standing ready to deal with any event where strength is required. Donnie, she's lying to you. Please believe me. She is hiding the truth from you. She hid the truth for years. Our father, get out of here right now. And that's chapter 4. That last little page there on page 77 was a bit excessive. But I think we got the point. It was a toxic environment. So, something about their dad. Some sort of secret. The question is not necessarily what is the secret, but why does it matter that Donnie not know the secret? And does this secret have anything to do with the intruder that beat the crap out of Donnie? I don't know. Probably. Otherwise, why pick Donnie to get $1 million from? My tea is piping hot. Wonder if you can see the steam. But it tastes so good. I see steam. Sip carefully. I'll try. It's good stuff. Okay. So yes, secret about their father. An intruder that still doesn't make any sense. And a missing secretary. Oh, how the plot thickens. Now, what's interesting, on the back of the book, it says he ends up living on the side of the road after living in mansions. That part hasn't happened yet. So, who knows when that's going to take place? Now, keep in mind, this is part 1 of a 3-part story. So, that portion may not happen until way later in part 1, perhaps. As the story goes. But what's catching my attention right now is this image. Looks like blood splatter. Not sure exactly what it represents, but we might find out. We might. Now we know the table of contents is misaligned pretty badly. Chapter 5 starts on page 79. In the table of contents, it says it starts on page 72. So, yeah. 7-page difference. Okay. Regardless, we're on page 79 of the printed copy. Chapter 5 is called When It Went Dark. The slam of the door behind Natalie brought silence to the room and many questions to Donnie's mind. When Catherine looked him in the eye, she knew she had to answer his questions and put this matter to rest once and for all. She carried that burden for 21 years. She took a big breath and said, as I also took a big breath, "It's a long story. I promise I will tell you everything. But for now, just focus on recovering." His mouth stayed still, but his eyes spoke volumes. He knew she was hiding something big. Maybe it was the glue that held all the pieces to what had been happening. His expressionless face brought shivers to her spine. "I promise once you feel better, I will take you home. We will sit, have tea, and I will tell you the whole story. I swear." Donnie turned around and went back to bed. His pain did not stop him from reaching the call button. Catherine stood, astounded, trying to predict what he was trying to do. "Please tell Dr. McLean I'd like to discharge myself." Catherine sat on the bed, drowned her face in her hands, and said, "Donnie, enough of this, please." "Dr. McLean will be in shortly. He's doing his rounds," said the nurse as she tried to stop the uncomfortable conversation she was witnessing. A few moments of silence went by, filled only by the steps Donnie was taking back and forth in the room, trying to figure out the rapid sequence of events that had been happening in his life. "Mr. Jackson, you look well. The nurse told me you'd like to discharge yourself." "Yes, doctor. I will feel better at home. I feel fine," said Donnie in an affirmative tone. "Actually, I was going to discharge you anyway. All your vitals are fine. You don't have any major injuries. You're good to go," said Dr. McLean as he kept flipping a few pages that he was holding in his hands. "Okay, that's great," said Donnie. Then he walked to the door and opened it. "Marcus, I need some clothes." Catherine had a different feeling about Donnie. He didn't seem himself. He wasn't the submissive boy that always listened to his mother. It was a feeling of guilt that pushed her away from being her normal, self-confident self. She felt it was better at that point not to say anything. The journey to the mansion felt uncomfortable. The interior of the vehicle was beautiful, with plush leather seats and a fully stocked bar. The windows were tinted, blocking out the sun and providing a sense of privacy. But despite the opulence of their surroundings, Donnie and his mother sat in silence, their bodies tense and their faces closed off. The air between them was thick with tension, and it was clear that something was weighing heavily on their minds. Donnie sat with his arms crossed over his chest, staring out the window as the city passed by in a blur. His mother sat opposite him, her hands folded neatly in her lap, her eyes fixed on some point in the distance. Neither of them spoke, and the only sound in the limo was the soft hum of the engine. It was a far cry from the comfortable and relaxed atmosphere that usually characterized their time together. Despite the tension, there was a sense of determination in the air. It was as if they were both waiting for the other to speak, to break the silence and address the elephant in the room. Donnie knew she was hiding something. She had been for years. Catherine knew it was time to confess the truth. "I need to go by the penthouse, Marcus," Donnie said while still looking out through the window. "Baby doll, you don't need to," Catherine interrupted before Marcus was able to comply. "I need my phone. I will need to show it to those police officers." Silence enlightened Marcus that Donnie won the argument, and he needed to change direction and head toward the penthouse. The slowing of the car made Donnie's heart tremble. He still wanted to protect his mother from the scenes of what happened. He didn't want her to see his blood all over the furniture. He stepped out of the car. Marcus followed him. His hand was shaking as he punched in the code to the front door. He struggled to insert the key into the keyhole. Marcus had seen blood before and had been in altercations in his line of work, but that didn't protect him from the shock of what he saw as he followed Donnie inside. The apartment was a mess after the fight. The coffee table was broken, its shattered pieces scattered across the floor. There were blood smudges on the walls and the furniture, evidence of the violence that had taken place. The air was heavy with the smell of sweat and fear, and the atmosphere was charged with tension. It was as if the very walls of the apartment were holding their breath, waiting for the next outburst of anger. In the living room, the couch was upturned, its cushions scattered across the floor. A lamp lay shattered on the ground, its bulb shattered, and its shade bent and twisted. In the kitchen, pots and pans were strewn across the counter, their contents spilled and ruined. A chair lay on its side, one leg broken, and the floor was slick with spilled liquids. He couldn't remember how some of this ended up the way they looked now. I was just thinking that in my head. I was like, the fight that we read about only happened in the living room. So what is all this? Did someone come back looking for something? It was a scene of chaos and destruction, and it was clear that a violent altercation had taken place. But as the dust settled, the apartment remained eerily quiet. The flashbacks of what happened were visible on Donnie's face and in his body language. "Don't touch or move anything, Marcus." Suddenly, the lawyer inside of him spoke, knowing that this would be a crime scene and the police would want to look for evidence everywhere and anywhere. "In fact, why don't you stay here? I'll be right back." He vividly remembered the punches and the kicks. He traced the blood marks into the bedroom, trying to avoid moving anything in his way. He leaned down to look under the bed, on the bed and beside the table. The phone was gone. His irrational thinking took the best of him. He opened drawers, flipped the bed sheets, and lifted the mattresses without a trace of his phone. He walked back, and Marcus noticed his disarray in his movements. "Is everything all right, sir?" He didn't get a reply from Donnie, who kept walking towards the console of his security system. To his shock, it was broken. "Let's go." They both got to the car. Catherine looked in distress, talking on the phone, and once Donnie got in the car, she said, "He's here. I'll check with him and call you right back. Donnie, the company paid $19 million for properties in Spain and Vienna. Did you authorize that?" "What? No, I didn't. Who are you talking to?" He nearly froze as he recalled the sentence that Mike had said to him when he came to his office. "That was Leonard, the new CFO. He has no idea how this happened." "What the hell is happening?" Donnie asked as if he hit the car door in anger. "We'll figure it out, baby doll. Marcus, home." Then she turned to Donnie. "It's a big fraud game." "Nope. Take me to my office, Marcus. Mom, not a word. I need to take care of that shit now." "Okay, baby doll, just calm down," she said, knowing that she just had to agree with what he wanted at that stage. The anger in his eyes frightened her. As the car pulled up in front of the building, he opened the door and looked at Catherine. "I'll find my way back. Don't wait for me." Catherine nodded in agreement and looked down in disappointment as she heard the car door slamming. The fast pace made people notice that Donnie looked different. His hair was untidy, his face was scruffy, just like mine. The jeans and the white t-shirt made him almost unrecognizable. He didn't wait for his elevator. He jumped in with the rest of the people who were going up. That scene made people avoid saying the morning greeting. The elevator reached the top floor. He walked towards his office and saw her from a distance. She was working on her computer when she saw him behind her screen, and their sights met. I'm assuming we're talking about Rachel right now. She froze and didn't know how to react. She hadn't seen him in a few days. The mixed emotions of being angry at him for following his mother's unsaid commands not to be with her. Okay, yeah, we're definitely talking about Rachel. The anguish of not being with him, the love she carried for him in her heart, and the worry she felt when she heard about what happened, all blended in for a moment and showed on her face. What does that expression look like? I have no idea. She stood up, walked around the table, and stood in front of him. "Come to my office," he said as he rubbed her arm. She followed him quietly. He walked in first, and she closed the sliding door. She turned around and couldn't help kissing him. Okay, I thought she... This feels weird to me. Only because of the next sentence. Her kissing him, in her eyes, if she's innocent, would seem, or at least wanting to appear innocent, would seem like the obvious choice. But it says, the kiss felt right for Donnie. That's the next sentence. Donnie thinks she's in on it. His immediate thought was that she let the guy in. I mean, she probably didn't, but that was his thought. That confuses me just a wee bit. Anywho, he missed her skin and her lips. He put his hands on her face, wishing the kiss would last forever. He put his mouth near her ear and whispered, "I missed you." Unless he's playing a game here, I'm not sure. Mad Locust, hi there. How you doing? "I missed you too, baby. What the hell happened to you?" she asked as she put her head on his chest. "You didn't come to the hospital to visit me once. I tried to call you and you didn't answer," he disappointedly said as he held her arms and pushed her gently back to look into her eyes. "You just woke up. Where are you? Are you in, like, Australia?" "Oh, you're in Denmark. Wait, did I not realize that? And why are you up at 3 a.m.? Shouldn't you be asleep? Did I not know you were in Denmark? If I did, and I just forgot, I am very sorry." And it's 14.8 Fahrenheit. Ugh, that's cold. It's 25 degrees Fahrenheit right now for me. How did I not know you're in Denmark? I'm sorry, I keep going on about this. Well, anyway, thanks for listening in from Denmark, I guess. I appreciate that. It's all good. I don't think I mentioned it before. Okay, just wanted to make sure, because I kind of felt a little dumb there for a second. But yeah, we're just partway through a chapter, so maybe I'll be able to help you go back to sleep. "You think I could have seen you in the hospital? That would have killed me. I always see you as a confident, strong, and in-control man. I could never see you in the hospital. You still don't know how much I love you, do you? Let's go have lunch and talk for a bit. I have some questions. But before that, I need to go to the security office," he quietly said, still apprehensive that someone might hear him. "Where's everybody?" he asked as he looked at the sliding door on the right side of his office. "They're all in court. You're safe. she said as she turned around and walked to the front sliding door, frustrated that he was still worried about other people. On their way out, Donnie stopped at the lobby and said, "I don't have a car. Can you bring yours to the front? I'll be right out." He turned right and headed toward the security room. He gave them instructions to pull up the security surveillance videos from the day Mike visited his office. Jazz. Thank you for the lurk. Hope you're well. Every time I say your name, just like Jazz. Wow. What are you doing? Keep that sexy voice going. What? The normal one or that one? Hi. Carrying on with the story. Either? You're funny. "Remember this restaurant?" he asked with a smile. "How can I forget? Has it been 2 years already?" 2 years, 3 months, and about 10 days, he said as he placed the dinner napkin on his lap. The sentence dazed Rachel. He obviously cared so much that he remembered the first time they met, the time they fell in love. He proceeded, "I know you have the short end of the stick in this relationship. I want to make things right, Rachel." That filled her chest with hope. She could physically feel her heart beating. She doesn't say anything, and her whole body stopped moving, anticipating the next sentence. "Let me buy you a house and a car to start with." Let me stop you right there, Donnie. Do you think I'm in this for money? I love you, for God's sake. Her voice got louder as he looked left and right to make sure the people around them couldn't hear. She realized her voice was getting shrill. She took a deep breath and held his hand. Let's move. Let's leave it all. Move to a different state. Start new. I'll be your secretary and you'll be independent of your mother's company. Give Natalie the share she's been asking for. What was it?
Is it hot in here? Are you hot? I mean, you are hot.
I'm not too hot right now. I was earlier because I had to do a bunch of push-ups. But hey, Stern. What's up? Good to see you. What was it? 10%? And let's leave it all behind. Please, Donnie. That took all doubts away from Donnie's mind. She wouldn't gain anything by setting him up to be beaten almost to death by a random stranger. I need to figure out what's going on, Rach. I can't just move. I need to know who this Mike is. Hey, you said nobody has access to the company's money but my mother and me, right? I did. I don't know how he could have used the company's money, Rachel said casually. How did you know? He asked with shock. I was just reading an email when you walked in. It was sent to all employees about an internal investigation, urging everyone to come forward with any information they might have. Can we talk about something that doesn't involve problems? I hate thinking someone is playing you. She's a sweetheart. Maybe. The vintage Manja. Man, all the cool kids are showing up right now. What's up, man? How are you? I'm sorry, I don't think I have any mods in here right now. There's so many people that need to be shouted. Do I have any mods? Hello. If you're a moderator, please speak up. Britt is visiting. Oh, that's cool. So we're cuddled up lurking on our friends. That's awesome. Hi, Britt. That warms my heart. I'm glad she's there. The vintage living room was a sight to behold. She's waving back. Sweet. Its luxurious furnishings and decor befitting a bygone era. The walls were paneled in dark wood, the floor covered in a plush, patterned carpet. The windows were draped in heavy velvet curtains, and the room was lit by a chandelier that sparkled and shone above. At the center of the room stood a grand Victorian-style couch, its cushions plump and inviting. The couch was surrounded by several matching chairs, each one upholstered in rich, velvety fabric. Along the walls, a series of antique tables and cabinets were arranged, each one adorned with ornate carvings and intricate details. Vases filled with fresh flowers added pops of color to the room, and the air was filled with the sweet aroma of roses. It was a room that exuded luxury and opulence, and it was clear that no expense had been spared in its decoration. It was a place that was meant to impress and to pamper, and it succeeded in both regards. As one entered the vintage living room, they couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder, as if they had stepped into a different time and place. It was a room truly fit for a king or queen, and it was clear that it was a space that was meant to be savored and enjoyed. So it's not Texas Roadhouse. Got it. The big Victorian sofa might have given Donnie physical comfort, but his mind was still spinning, trying to make sense of it all. Catherine had made many phone calls so far, trying to get to the bottom of this without success. He heard her footsteps coming toward the living room as she hung up her cell and crashed on the other end of the sofa. "Well, nobody knows what's happened," she said. "Mom, you promised you were going to tell me what Nat was talking about," Donnie said in a quiet voice. "Baby doll, we've got a lot to figure out. Let's find out who this Mike is. Let's find out who is behind this big purchase. I didn't want to upset you, but according to Leonard, the assets they bought aren't worth half of that amount." "Mom, one last time. I need to know." "Tomorrow, baby. I am so tired. I'm sure you are too. So let's stop playing games. I am sick and tired of your lies and deceitful behavior. Just tell me the fucking truth." Donnie shouted as he kept hitting the sofa he was sitting on. Catherine looked at Donnie with tearful eyes. The words couldn't come out of her mouth. "I'm going to my room. Don't wake me unless you're ready to tell me the truth," Donnie said as he walked towards the white, twisted stairs that led to the upper level. He met Jared, the butler, as he was walking upstairs. "Would you like your dinner in your room, sir?" asked Jared as he stepped aside to clear the way for Donnie. "I don't want anything, Jared. Thank you," Donnie said quietly as he kept walking. He entered the room, closed the door behind him, and reached into his pocket where a bottle of Percocet was there. He opened the bottle and got 4 tablets out. He swallowed them whole. 4? That's a lot of tablets. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to backtrack, but I feel like we missed something. Okay. We're on page 94. Okay. I need to say this out loud so I'm not going crazy. And then you guys can help me. So, Stunt Mama's Mama, help me out here. We're on page 94 right now, but on page 91, it was Donnie and Rachel talking, right? They were at a restaurant, and she was basically saying, yeah, I got an email, yada, yada, yada. I hate thinking someone is playing you. Okay, so that ends page 91. So there's a restaurant, it's Rachel, it's Donnie. But then all of a sudden on page 92, we're in this vintage living room. In my head, I'm still thinking we're at the restaurant, and maybe this is like another room as part of the restaurant, like a sitting area, you know? But we're not. We're at the mansion. How did we get to the mansion? And where's Rachel? I'm not missing that, right? I'm not going crazy, am I? Can we talk about something that doesn't involve problems? I hate thinking someone is playing you. The vintage living room was a sight to behold. I gotta make a note of that, because something just doesn't make sense there. And I'm not doing this to be mean to the writer. I want them to know that something doesn't add up so that they can hopefully, you know, figure it out. So page 91 into 92, something's missing. If it's an intentional difference, there's nothing on the page showing me that. Like, there's no indication of all right, we're moving forward in time, it's a new place, new people, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there is a teleportation in this book. Maybe there is a lost chapter at the end. I hope not. Alright, but anyway, for the time being, we're almost to the end of chapter 5, so we'll keep going. Hopefully we don't find another moment like that, because that can be a bit weird when you're trying to keep track. Need some sort of a break sign. Right, if that's what was intended, and it very well could be. And if so, fine. But it doesn't read that way. Anyway, 4 tablets, swallowed them whole. That is a lot of Percocet. He's going to sleep for a while. Donnie's bedroom was a testament to his wealth and status. It was a lavish, opulent space filled with the finest furnishings and decor. The walls were painted a rich, deep shade of red, and the floor was covered in a plush, woolen carpet. A 4-poster bed stood at the center of the room, its canopy draped in yards of silk. The bed was surrounded by a number of antique tables and cabinets, each one adorned with intricate carvings and gold leaf details. A chandelier of sparkling crystals hung from the ceiling, casting a warm, golden glow over the room. There was a fireplace at one end of the room, its mantel adorned with a collection of antique figurines and trinkets. A plush, velvet armchair sat in front of the fireplace, inviting one to sink into its soft cushions and relax. It was a bedroom fit for a millionaire, a space that exuded luxury and indulgence. It was a place that was meant to be savored and enjoyed, and it was clear that Donnie took great pride in his surroundings. As one entered Donnie's bedroom, they couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder. It was a space that was truly fit for a king, and it was clear that it was a place that was meant to be treasured and admired. I'm sorry, didn't we just read that about the living room? Okay, anyway. He laid down on his bed, still fully clothed, and on the top of the duvet. The squishy pillows and the soft sheets did not stop the soreness he felt all over his body. The Percocet effect started to kick in slowly. The ceiling was spinning, and the bed started to float. His eyes finally gave up flight with his mind, trying to decipher the dilemma that had nearly changed his life. The absence of the air conditioner's sound was unusual, but the heat was what woke him up from his deep sleep. See, again, right here, this would have been a good time for a little signia to say, hey, time has moved on. The dude has been asleep. It must have been a while since he'd been asleep without the air conditioner. The reflection of the moonlight emanating through the window helped him remember where he was. He got up and walked towards the door of his bedroom. The rest of the house was darker. It wasn't the side that faced the moon. "Jared?" He yelled, but got no answer. The sound of his footsteps as he went downstairs felt loud due to the silence that overwhelmed the mansion. He felt uneasy. The unpredictability in his life seemed to have followed him around in the past few days, even in his mansion. "Mom!" His yelling became louder, but with no use. "Thump Gaming, what's up, man? How you doing? Welcome in." "Mom? What's going on? Where is everybody?" "Jared, are you there?" Then he whispered, "Why is it so dark?" He could barely see, but that didn't stop him from finding his way around the mansion where he had spent most of his life. He went to the kitchen in the hope that he would find a lighter or a matchbox. "God damn it!" he yelled as he slipped and fell on what seemed to be a wet floor. Oh, this is not a good sign. He tried to get up, but his hands were wet now. The fluid felt thick. He put his hand near his nose to smell it. As he did that, he noticed the silhouette of what was behind his hand. There seemed to be a body lying on the floor. He squinted his eyes, trying to sharpen his vision. He became paralyzed. The glistening of Catherine's eyes from the moonlight made the words impossible. He started yelling, "No!" as he tried to get up. He wiped his hands against his clothes and got closer. "Oh, God! Mom! Please answer me!" He sobbed in a shaky, quiet voice. She never replied. And that's chapter 5. See, that's what happens when you take 4 Percocet. You have no idea what's going on. Okay. Well then. Things just got more interesting, that's for sure. Mr. Thump Gaming, if you don't know this guy, he's got a better voice than me. I swear it is true. Puts on an excellent stream. Please, please, please go check him out. You will not regret it. You know, I don't want to brag, but I make a mean cup of tea. It's true. Let's see. the puzzle is coming along quite well. Got the border done. Some of the sky, starting to work on the skyscrapers. Excellent, excellent. Oh, it's a good crack in my neck there. The border was a beach. Yep, all those pieces that have a flat edge. Ugh, they're the worst. Just kidding. I know there's a lot of similar colors going on in this image, so I didn't go too crazy on the number count of pieces. I think it's a little over 400. I'm surprised Stunt Mama's not in here trying to nail down this puzzle right now. But hey, her loss, your gain. Usually it was super easy, but the pieces were stacked and hard to find. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sounds terrible. Carly, how are you? I know you weren't feeling the best. I'm not sure what she's up to tonight. I haven't talked to her today. Oh. I find that kind of strange. I just have this impression that the two of you talk like every 4 hours. Somewhere in that range. So I have been chugging tea. Good. Well, hopefully good, if that's what you need to do. I came home to find out my son has strep throat. So that's great. My throat is still bothering me, but no fever. No, boo. It is boo. It just depends. Okay. I see. Well, silly me. I just assumed. Oh, Thump is actually streaming right now, so I'm gonna pull him up so I can see what he's up to. Oh, he's playing Valorant. Valorant. Who else is streaming right now? Here There Be Monsters, Quincy, Mr. Carrington, and a plethora of others, of course. Hi, Kay. How are you? No, I'm not. I wasn't talking about who I'm rating to. I was just talking about who's on. How are you, Kay? How's the new job? Is it treating you all right? Are you winning? Are you still in training, or have they let you loose? Tired. My trainer doesn't like overnights. Ah, boo-hoo to your trainer. Tell them to get over it. It's their job. It's so hard. You know what? New things are hard. Until you're used to them. Until they're not new anymore, right? There's a phrase I'm trying to think of, and it's not coming to my mind, but basically a transitionary period, you know? Getting used to it. One more day of training. Okay. Cool. One more day. Do you have a set schedule? Like, do you already know what you're going to be doing, kind of thing? My body doesn't like it. I feel like I'm being drawn and quartered. Oh no. It sounds like there's maybe some extra physical labor you weren't intending. Or perhaps you're just not used to yet. Getting those muscles nice and strong. Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Ooh, that is late. Well, more power to you. That's what I say. I'm proud of you for getting out there and doing the work. My choice between Saturday nights or Sundays days. Oh, yeah. That's a toughie no matter how you slice it. But good for you, seriously. I'm glad you're able to get out there and do something. It'll be good for you. Not as fun right away, of course, but it'll be great. Oh, there it is. Why did I set the book over there? I have no idea. Let's see. Out of our 254 pages, we are almost at 100. Almost. A man showed up tonight and freaked me out. Uh-oh. I feel like we need more context. Sounds like there's a story. I should figure out how long the next chapter is to figure out if we have time to read it. Let's see. 98. It's about 17 pages. Gave you a panic attack? A bad one? Oh no. I'm so sorry, Kay. No story. He's an employee of the car dealership. He was taking care of something, but his presence was unnerving. Oh. Well, that is weird. I'm terrified of strange men. Well, hopefully, he becomes less strange. But, I mean, you already know this, but I'm going to say it because I feel like it's worth saying. If that strange feeling continues, you got to say something. Okay? Don't go being all brave and strong in that regard. That's the wrong word. Don't try and tackle it on your own, is what I'm trying to get at. Be brave by saying something. That's what I'm trying to say. My supervisor said he is a nice guy. Well, your supervisor may think he's a nice guy, but that doesn't mean that you have to think he's a nice guy. Like, that's his perception. You know? That's how that works. Anyway. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, because I could. Alright, so we're at the mansion, which, by the way, chapter 6, we have a picture. Another picture. It's got a cop car out front, I think. He probably is, but he's a man, so I'm scared. Nothing irregular about that at all. You have every right to feel that way if that's how you feel. I'm just saying, if it gets to a point of too much, raise your hand, say something. All right. Chapter 6 is called And There It Went Downhill. So yeah, I don't think the author or the lady that I've been talking to that's done the editing stuff is in here tonight. In fact, let me just double check to make sure I didn't get some sort of message. Okay. No messages. So I'll reach out to her again later like I did last time. Alright, let me get the puzzle back up. Alright, chapter 6, and there it went downhill. The blanket with which he was wrapped did not keep the cold out. Wait, what? I'm just gonna keep going. It didn't help stop the shivers. Donnie could still perceive the feel of Catherine's blood against his skin. The darkness was filled with police lights. The quietness was filled with sirens. The shock of what happened made him numb to sorrow. He felt like he was falling into an abyss. He was out of screams. He pulled the blanket that the police gave him tightly against his chest as he sat on a decorative rock outside the mansion. A yellow police tape with the words "Do Not Cross" written all over it surrounded the mansion. Suddenly, the voice of Detective Hill emerged out of the noises that filled the environment. "Mr. Jackson, I am Detective Hill. Jack Hill. This is Detective Alida Lovelace. We are FBI agents, and we'll be investigating the case. I know it's a difficult time, but do you have anything that can help us?" He tried to answer, but the words failed him as he wiped the tears that had nearly dried up on his face. "That's okay, sir. Do you have anywhere to stay tonight?" asked Alida with a compassionate voice. "I need to make a phone call. Can I go inside?" answered Donnie quietly. Alida pulled out her cell and gave it to Donnie. "You can't go in, but here, you can use my phone." He dialed a phone number that he memorized like his name and heard a sleepy voice on the other end. "Rach, please come quickly. I need you. Something terrible has happened," said Donnie sobbingly. "Babe, are you okay? What happened?" Rachel was now wide awake and asked in a scared voice. "It's my mom, Rach. My mom is Donnie couldn't finish the sentence as he started crying again. Alida took the phone from him and said, "Hi, I'm Detective Lovelace. This is my phone. Donnie needs you. He's at his house. I can give you the address." "I know the address. I'm on my way," said Rachel. Alida could hear the movement as if she were already up and heading to her car. Alida hung up the phone and looked at Donnie with sympathy. She sat next to him on the rock and said, "Mr. Jackson, we really need to ask you a few questions. Help us find out what happened." "I don't know what happened, Detective. I woke up in the middle of the night because it was hot. Everything was dark. It was so eerily quiet. Not sure what time it was. I called out to the butler and my mom, but no one answered. Then I went to the kitchen. I tried to find a lighter or a flashlight, and I saw her," replied Donnie, sobbing again. "So there was no electricity in the entire house?" Detective Hill followed up, unmoved by Donnie's tears. "No, nothing. Everything was pitch black." "What's the name of your butler, Mr. Jackson, and where is he now?" Alida asked. "Jared. He leaves at about 9 every night and starts at 7. He works 5 days a week." "We will need to talk to him," said Detective Hill quietly, followed by, "Okay, Mr. Jackson. You'll need to go to the police station to give a statement. This is my phone number, and if anything comes up, please let me know. We're going to make some phone calls and have another look inside. Do you have any questions for me?" I have a question. Why is the FBI involved? Why wouldn't it just be the state or the city or the county police? Why is the FBI there? He shook his head and wrapped himself up tightly with the blanket. He couldn't remember how long he'd been outside, but the flashbacks kept torturing him. He couldn't help but think, had he not been asleep, maybe he could have stopped what happened or died with her and saved himself from the torture he was experiencing. Baby? Baby? Are you okay? He raised his head and saw Rachel. She put her arms around the blanket and whispered, "Oh my God, baby. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." The FBI would have had to be called in on the case. Right, that's what I was thinking, Stuntman Mama. It'd have to be it would have to become federal in some kind of way. Maka Waka. Hi. That's a fun name to say. Maka Waka, Maka Waka, Maka Waka, Maka Waka. Welcome in. How are you? Serial killer? Well, we don't even know how the murder even happened yet. So I don't even know what we have to go on to make it. I love Criminal Minds. I used to watch that a ton. I haven't finished it. I should. Some of it got really dark, like real dark. But yeah, we don't know enough about how his mother has been killed yet to even know if it's related to anything else. But anyway, I digress. He put his head on her shoulder and cried. He finally got the comfort of a familiar face. The conversant scent brought some relief to his soul. "She's dead, Rach. Dead. I'm sure it's him. I don't know what's happening. What does he want?" Rachel stood up and put her hand under his arm, encouraging him to get up. "Let's go, babe." Donnie looked up at her, questioning what she meant. "Come to my place. You can't possibly be alone tonight," she explained. "I have to give a statement," he said quietly. "That's okay. We will go to the police station and then go to my house afterward." Hopelessly and powerlessly, he got up and walked to her car. "I'm gonna kill this son of a bitch the next time I see him," he whispered. Rachel did not make any comment. Instead, she reached out and held his hand as she drove off to the police station. The police lights and sirens gradually faded away in the night. As Donnie stepped into the police station, he couldn't help but feel a sense of unease wash over him. The atmosphere was tense and chaotic, with people milling about in all directions. Victims of crime stood huddled in corners, their faces drawn and worried. Criminals sat handcuffed to benches, their expressions sullen and defeated. Excuse me, hello. The walls seemed to close in around Donnie, suffocating him. He felt out of place and uncomfortable, like an intruder in a world that he didn't understand. "Mr. Jackson, I believe we've met before. Brett Brennand. I came to the hospital after your penthouse incident," he said with a strong voice. Donnie nodded. "When I heard about what happened, I came straight away. I will be taking your statement. Do you think it was the same person?" "I don't know. Look, this has been a really difficult day for me. I already told the police what happened, then the FBI. Why do I need to say it one more time? He angrily asked. Yes, sir, I understand. Anyway, I'll take it from here. Do you have a ride, or would you like me to arrange arrange one? Wait, oh, that's it. Okay. I was thrown off by the sentence because it's missing words. Or would you like me to arrange for one? Is what I meant to say. Wait, so he's not doing a statement? I'm confused. This book sure does have some odd holes in it. It's throwing me off a little bit. I'm going to write that down too. If I learn that it's just further down the page, I'll scratch it off. But what is this? 104? Okay. Again, I'm not trying to be mean. I just want to help. If this were my book, I would want to know. He's coming with me, officer, Rachel said as she put her arm around Donnie's shoulder and rubbed them. Okay. You need to get me the surveillance camera tape so that we can start looking for this guy. It's become more urgent. Please, help us catch him, Mr. Jackson. Officer Brennan gave Donnie a compassionate look, trying to balance the sympathy he tried to provide with the sense of urgency he tried to convey. Donnie drifted away and didn't hear all the instructions given by Officer Brennan. A shiver captured his body now and then every time he thought of that moment when he found his mother on the ground. The drive to Rachel's house took 25 minutes. Okay, so there's no statement. What happened to the statement? He finally looked up as the car pulled up in the old gravel driveway. The house looked aged. Well, hi, Ons. It's a pleasure to see you too. Its once proud facade now marred by years of neglect. The metal bars that held the roof above the porch were rusted and corroded, and the dim light that shone from within reflected the patches of fallen paint on the front door. The yard was overgrown and untended, the weeds and grass sprouting up between the cracks in the pavement. The bushes and trees that once provided shade and privacy were now overgrown and wild, their branches tangling together in a tangle of leaves and twigs. Despite its state of disrepair, there was something about the house that seemed inviting. It had a lived-in, homely feel, as if it had seen its share of joy and sorrow, laughter and tears. As one approached the house, they couldn't help but feel a sense of nostalgia wash over them. It was a place that had witnessed so much, and it was a place that seemed to hold the secrets of the past. Despite its flaws, the house had a certain charm, and it was clear that it had been loved and cared for by someone at some point in its history. It was a place that had seen better days, but it was a place that still had a lot of life left in it. I'm sorry it's not the greatest place, but, it's just a place to spend what's left of the night, she said, looking embarrassed. Donnie didn't respond. He only gave a small smile. He followed Rachel as she opened the front door. The inside was not in any better condition than the exterior. It had scattered old furniture. It then dawned on him, in over 2 years he'd never seen where she'd lived. This thought almost made him forget what happened earlier. What had happened. He never knew she lived in a place like that, or a condition like this. My mother's treatment costs a lot, so all the money goes on that. She tried to explain the reason behind what he was looking at. Rachel, it's okay. I'm just grateful to have you to spend the night with. His sentence was interrupted by a deep, wet and loud cough that was coming from one of the rooms. That's my mother, she explained quickly. It's not going to be a quiet night for you, I'm afraid. Before he had a chance to say anything, his mother walked into their room. She was holding an oxygen canister. The tubes were connected to her nose. She seemed to walk slowly, and she had an audible wheeze. Who is that? She asked with hoarseness. Mom, this is Donnie. He's spending some time here, she replied in an excited voice. The shock on her face gave him a scare. She looked at him up and down, and with her eyes wide open, Get out of my house! Mom! Get out of my house right now, young man! This girl has been with you for over 2 years, and you're embarrassed to even tell anyone about her. Who the hell do you think you are? Gonna be up to some pre-B-Day hijinks with some Legos? Nice. Enjoy. Donnie looked at Rachel, not knowing how to react. Then he quietly said, I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to bother you. He walked through the small corridor past Rachel as he quickly whispered, Please take me somewhere else. He sat on the porch. The thin old walls didn't stop the flow of words coming through them. He could hear what was taking place inside. He could hear Rachel yelling. He could even catch full sentences. She was telling her mother that she embarrassed her, and that he had just lost his mother. But he sympathized with her mother's reasoning. She was just a mother who cared about her little girl. She had the right. She'd been with someone for 2 years without anyone knowing. She was just being protective of her child. His mother would have done the same, he thought. He heard the car keys sound as Rachel stormed out of the house. She stomped to the car, and he followed her. Rachel was very upset. She took it out on the car, leaving marks in the gravel driveway. I'm so sorry, Donnie. I swear I didn't complain. She was interrupted. She's right, Rachel. It's not the best time to talk about it, but she's right. I was just too selfish to see it. I didn't see how my actions affected other people, he said disappointedly. Where do you want to go now? She asked after a period of silence. I don't know. I don't even have my wallet. I can't go to a hotel. How about Nat's? She asked hesitantly. I don't think it's the best way to tell her that her mother was just murdered. Can we just sit in the car in front of the office? It's only 3 hours until the building opens. I need to get those tapes. Without saying a word, Rachel drove toward the building. The roads felt empty. It was nearly 5 in the morning. Donnie drove on the roads multiple times, but this was the first time he looked at the sides. He was always in a hurry, focusing on arriving at his office, ignoring the beauty that was surrounding him. And for the first time, he felt he took things for granted. The area in front of the building was quiet. Rachel parked the car, switched the engine off, and took her seatbelt off, and leaned on the driver's door. Okay, now what's the next step? She asked. Rhino, what's up, man? Hope you're well. I'm doing not too bad, thank you. I hope you are good. It's great to see you. Prepare a good defense, he said while looking out through the passenger window at his building. What do you mean? Rachel asked, looking confused. There was no break-in. Whoever did this, they knew what they were doing. I will be the only suspect, he said with a confident tone. He then turned his head toward Rachel. He noticed she was about to cry. He said, It's okay, babe. There are more important things to think about. What are you talking about? What are more important than you going to prison? And for something you didn't even do? She said with a shaky tone. I can't even imagine it. Please, think of something. Rachel, when I found her, there was blood everywhere. My fingerprints are all over the place. It was dark, and I struggled to find the phone. I touched everything in the process. I am almost confident the police won't find any other fingerprints. He paused. I need to think of a bigger picture now. He sighed deeply. Rachel didn't say anything. She just raised her eyebrows, encouraging him to continue. I need to sell all my assets immediately or transfer them under the name of someone I trust. Natalie? She asked in a quiet voice. Natalie is my only option. I need to get a cell today. I need to call her. I also need to get those surveillance videos. Finding out who this man is would be my best chance of resolving everything. What about the videos from the security system at the penthouse? She asked confidently. I can't find my cell. The only place where it would have been stored would be my phone, he replied quietly. Okay, surely there are some videos from the mansion. The police will be able to find out who did it, she said, feeling less confident. He scoffed. When the electricity goes off, so does the security system. I told you that they knew what they were doing. Why would you not have a backup system for your security in a frickin' mansion? I'm just saying. Rachel felt helpless as she put her hand on his thigh and said, Can I do anything? Just be close to me. I need you, Rach. He replied, getting very choked with emotion. I want to sleep. I want it all to go away, he sobbed. I'm sorry, baby. Here, put your head down. She leaned in front of him and reached out to the lever. Reached out to the lever on his seat and put it down. She watched him as he laid down and closed his eyes. She could see the tears in his eyes, and that made her eyes water up. He couldn't remember how long he slept. He opened his eyes, protecting them from the sunlight with his hand. How long have I been asleep? He asked as he moved the seat back up. About 3 hours. The security men have been here for a while, but I didn't want to wake you up. I thought you needed to sleep. He looked at Rachel, not believing she held all this love for him. The feeling of guilt triumphed over the feeling of sorrow for his mother and the feeling of confusion that he carried for the last few days. They both walked into the building. Donnie looked even more unkempt than the last time he had been there. He walked to the security room with Rachel. He could feel the tension the security men expressed on their faces as they saw him. Mr. Jackson, sir, the videos you asked for? I went through all the videos, but it seems like there were some technical issues, said the security man hesitantly. What the hell does that mean? Yelled Donnie angrily. I don't know what to say, sir. There are no videos from that day. Donnie turned to Rachel and said sarcastically, The only thing I need to do now is bend over for whoever's doing all of this. And that ends chapter 6. Well, things are just getting worse and worse for poor Donnie. However, I will give you a glimpse into the future. Chapter 7 is titled Natalie Tells It All. So Natalie is definitely going to get involved somewhere. And based on the title, it sounds like the truth is finally going to be revealed. So maybe, just maybe, that will give them some clues as to where to look next. So I guess we'll see. Okay. So thank you all for hanging out tonight. I appreciate it. I also want to say how much I was overwhelmed by the new follow from Red Dead. Thank you. I don't know if you're still there, but I appreciate it. The resubscribes from Carly and Gemma, and then the resubscribes, and then Gemma with the gifted subs. That's what I meant to say. Oh, and I owe 2 more push-ups to the list from Newbie because of her jump scare earlier. So now I'm back to 74. You know, at least it's not 112 like it was. Thought that was a lot. Yeah. So it's time to go raid. I mentioned earlier about Thump Gaming, and you know, he's got this really cool voice. I wasn't lying. We're gonna go raid him. He's not reading. He's still playing Valorant. But you'll get to hear it for yourself. It's worth it. I promise. Good dude. He's a good dude. Okay. So we'll be back Thursday night, continuing our story. I'm gonna fill in the lady I've been talking to about this book, let her know the couple of the confusing parts that we found. Again, just more information for her so that she can hopefully help, get that taken care of. But yeah, thank you again for being here. Thank you for blessing me with your time. I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. I hope that whatever you get up to this week, that it's good, prosperous, and just, a good benefit all over. So, thank you. Stick around for the raid if you can. If not, I understand. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And have a great night.
This puffer, this corticosteroid